Hi, everyone. Henry DeVries from Indie Books International. Welcome to this month's Community Q&A. This is where we have an open forum on all things marketing with a book and a speech. So how to create a book, how to publish a book, how to promote a book. And today we're going to be talking about filling a pipeline. And I've got with me my co-author, Craig Lauder. We just came out with Trusted Advisor Confidential, part of our Confidential series. And trusted advisors for us means agency owners, financial advisors, strategic consultants. So these people in a very trusted position, and also they have to establish trust to get clients. So why don't we pin Craig and we'll have him side by side. Devin, if you could do that. Cool, cool, cool. Craig, welcome. Why don't we talk about feeding the funnel? The feeding the funnel part of being a trusted advisor. What the topic here is how to take client acquisition to the next level, and that's what the whole book's about. But in that feeding the funnel and why we need to invest in it, why don't you help us go there?
Absolutely. It's an honor to be here today with this group. Trusted advisors, in most cases, do not find client acquisition, business development, or sales, it's all synonymous, to be one of their core competencies. And typically, they're following what has worked in the past. So it's worked in the past, I'll do it again, without any forethought for determining what does a right fit client really look like. And that's really the starting point to fill the funnel. There are 5 precursor stars that need to be followed in order to fill the funnel with right fit prospects. They include targeting. You need to make sure that you're targeting those prospects, those potential clients that have the characteristics of your ideal client profile, which would include demographics, geographic, psychographics, basically how they buy, so that you know the difference between what a pheasant looks like and a crow looks like if you're hungry. That's foundational. Not until you know who is the right fit client for you, can you move forward to the next step. Once you identify right fit clients, you need to create a message that resonates with them. It catches their attentions. It gains their interest. It creates great desire that they want to move forward in the sales process, so that when your message is delivered to them, it resonates with them and they go, they're talking to me. Yeah, I see myself in that scenario. The third star is really lead conversion process mapping. Once we know who our target audience is, the message we want to deliver, it's just like going on a journey. There's a direct, efficient, and effective path to move a prospect from actually a suspect to a prospect and close those into a value-based right fit client. And that really starts with understanding your target audience's buyer's journey and the steps that they're going to go through in making the best informed decision for them. Once we know that, it's a matter of taking our business development, our lead conversion process, and making sure that there is congruency with how they buy. In other words, we need to be going down this road in the same direction, pretty much at the same speed. We're going to be a little bit ahead of them because we always want to be in a position to say, at this particular juncture in your buying process, others like you have thought that option A may be best for them or option B may be best for them. And if they haven't purchased your type of product or service in the past, they really don't know what to expect. So by guiding them and telling them stories will help them make an informed decision quicker. Fourth, once you know who your target is, your message is resonating with your target, and you're building a lead conversion map, now you need to build some lead conversion success standards. I'll take the nice words off. They're KPIs. You need to make sure that you identify a total of between 5 and 8 activities and results. Activities are the most important because they are the leading indicators to success. The results are the lagging indicators. Example, activities, a number of calls that you make. Based on those calls, the number of opportunities that you turn up. Based on the number of opportunities you define, the number of proposals that actually go out the door, which in turn is going to help you build and look at what your funnel is looking at like in any given point in time. So the first 4 that we talked about are really all about lead conversion. I'm a firm believer that you don't prime the pump for leads until you are efficient and effective at converting those leads. It's akin to taking a water bucket out to the pump, you're getting ready to prime, and your bucket has holes in the bottom. What happens to those leads? They drain out in the ground, they're lost. So it's important to make sure you have your lead conversion process in place before you're turning on your lead generation engine, the strategies that you're going to employ. And I know
Great.
Henry can talk extensively about this.
Yeah, thanks, Craig. I was going to say, let me jump in to give them an example of what we're talking about on these KPIs, key performance indicators, and this idea to feed the funnel. You control what you control. As you said, the lagging indicators, the results, you don't control, you influence. So you influence them by what you can control. So every month we have a Q&A call. Wherever 2 or more are gathered, we're going to talk books and speaking. So glad you're here. And then we're going to make it a conversation. So it's 2-way. Okay, there's one. Now we can control inviting people. We can control, I make 60 phone calls a month. That's my KPI to either advocates, people who can refer business or prospects. And they're not sales calls. I need everybody to get over that. Your conversations. Matter of fact, I try to have something helpful to say, or ask them, who are you looking for? How can I help you this month? That's all you need to do. You don't need to say, you want to hire me this month? You want to buy a strategic coach? You want to buy a book? You don't need to do that. The next thing that we do is we do a number of articles a month. We've opened up Agency Owner News, where we publish our articles for agency owners. So we do 1 article a week. Wouldn't more be better? Maybe, but it's a cost benefit. Now, the biggest metric indicator that I want to leave with you is whenever you speak, whenever you do something like this, invite people to have a no selling zone strategic conversation with you. So Craig talks about this, I talk about this, but you control just offering it. So everybody today, anybody who wants a call with me and go over some strategy, I know Craig offers the same thing. We're being helpful, we're being generous, and it's a strategy, because the more helpful we are to people, somehow the luckier we get in business development. It's call it the law of reciprocation, karma, kismet, call it what you will, but if you give generously, you'll be rewarded. Maybe not directly by that person, but it might be in the form of a referral. It might be in the form of somebody being helpful. Dan Janelle is always helpful to me, where he's sending leads. Well, oh, here's a story where you could comment on that story and get some good publicity. I'm grateful for that. People are grateful when you're helping them. So those are some of the ways to take client acquisition to the next level, is to don't think about this as you're got to make a lot of hard sales calls. And it's not about that. It's about enrolling prospects, being generous, and feeding that funnel And most agency owners, financial service providers, strategic consultants that Craig and I talk to, they have a bone dry sales funnel. And they're hoping and praying the phone rings. This is not a business development strategy. You want to be proactive, control what you control. Craig, another thought, and then we'll open it up to Q&A.
I think there are two themes here. To fill your funnel with right fit clients. It becomes with lead conversion. It starts with targeting and messaging. And then once you get good at lead conversion, it's all about implementing the right lead generation strategies. A book, small scale seminars, getting published, et cetera, et cetera. Between lead conversion and lead generation, if you manage yourself, you will have a healthy funnel of business opportunities.
There we go. Well, let's open it up. We also have another expert on the call too, Devin DeVries. She handles our book production and promotion and things that if you are an author, what you can be doing to generate more leads for your pipeline through promoting your book and your speaking. So, oh, good to see Leslie in the house. See Doug's in the house. Any question from anybody for us? Yes, John, please.
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you great. Please also give us the title of your book.
Oh, yeah, it's called The Master's Path. And for you that wonder, I'm a ninth degree black belt, and I oversee a international martial arts organization. So I'm one of those guys that wears pajamas when I go to work. But all kidding aside, I really don't do that much anymore. I actually oversee a bunch of schools. But what I do is I'm trying to figure out today, Henry, and of course to Craig as well. So, you know, I know learn and shares work well, and that's what you're doing today. And that's probably one of the key indicators when you said member calls. This is a 2-hour call. So, you know, it looks like I'm guessing at about 15 minutes is the learning portion where, you know,
This is a 1-hour call.
Oh, it's a 1-hour call. Well, there you go. Even
There you
better. No, I'm just
You
kidding.
scared a lot of people there.
2 hours is great. I was going, oh man, 2 hours. Okay.
2 hours,
So,
I know.
okay, cool. So 1-hour call. And so 30 minutes, 30 minutes is the learn. And then you should go 30 minutes for the share. Is that typically what you would recommend?
So questions about the timing. We do 10 to 15 minutes on the share. I did what's called a soft opening for the first 5 minutes and kind of visited with people because people were filing in, and then started it. Then you open it up to Q&A, and I like to end it about a quarter till, no later than 10 till, because everybody has something to prepare for, and they probably have a call at the top of the hour. So that's how the world works these days. And then if there are no questions, if it dies out, then you say, well, this is great. Thanks for coming. I'm going to give you the rest of your day back. And remember, we do these every month and look forward to seeing you. So from a university professor standpoint, you never got dinged for ending early.
Do you encourage, you know, everybody to bring at least one guest as a way to hopefully fill the group?
That's a great idea.
Because that's what we do. We do. Now, I don't do it, but at the school level, all the schools that are members of my group, we have what are called buddy weeks or buddy days, right? And this is where each student, in this case, a client, would invite a friend from work, school, the community, the neighborhood, but somebody that's, again, a right fit client.
So that's great. Speaking of buddies, it reminds me of something we tried in March. We picked 24 advocates, people who are advocates of our work, and I sent each of them 2 copies of Trusted Advisor Confidential, one for them and one to share. And we were all programmed by our 4th grade teachers. I know those people are not going to throw those books away, because throwing books away is a sin, like To Kill a Mockingbird. So did I just mention me and Harper Lee in the same sentence? That was an accident. Okay, so it's a running joke. If you mention yourself and a famous author in the same sentence, we always call you on that. Did you just mention you and Charles Dickens in the same sentence? So the buddying up is a great idea, and we'll start doing that. Another question. Dan Janelle from the great state of Minnesota.
Hi. As you know, I wrote a book about pickleball, and in Pickleball Magazine is going digital, and they want to license my content and use it on their website. I have no idea how to charge for this. Do you?
Okay. Yes. So what they're asking for is sometimes called secondary rights and non-exclusive secondary rights. So you can excerpt that. Now, I've sold some of those things for $25 a piece. So I don't sell them for much because I like the exposure they bring. I wouldn't license the entire pickleball book. I would do, ask them to pick 4 chapters, and at the bottom, $25 is a no-brainer price. You might be able to get more. That was, that was a few years ago that I did that price. McDonald's hamburgers are really getting up there, so everything's inflated. But you see, but you'd like a no-brainer price because it expands your intellectual property capital out there in the world. My deal with Forbes.com was that after 5 days, I owned all rights to the columns. Forbes can always publish them, and I can publish them in any way I see fit. So if you ever do a column deal, pay attention to the language in the agreement. Don't ever sell rights to your writing in perpetuity forever. Don't do that. You always want to be able to do secondary rights.
Great, that helps a lot. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let me ask you a question. What is your desired outcome via licensing?
Well, they approached me, so this was just manna from heaven. But Henry's right. It's tremendous exposure for me for speaking, for writing, for additional books that I have planned in the series, so such like that. So the money is not, it's almost incidental to the exposure and being elevate my position in the industry.
So it's an ante like in poker that's going to give you access to speaking engagements and sell more books.
Correct.
They're
actually going to be coming. We were supposed to have a meeting this afternoon, and they postponed it. But they're sending a proposal to me, so they're making the first offer, which is good. And as we all know that the person who makes the first offer loses. So I was glad not to be in that position. Now I have a frame of reference, thanks to Henry.
Yeah. Always always get them to make a first offer. Oh, this is interesting. So side note to this, Dan, you'll like it. So a third party was brokering a deal for me to ghostwrite a book. And I met with the proposed client, was very impressed, and they were getting some other bids. And then they came back to me and said, "Oh, he really likes you, but you're higher than the other people." And I said, "Oh, that's good. I'd hate to be the lowest offer on the table." They said, "Yeah, well, he was wondering, if you could come down." I said, "Well, that would ruin all my credibility with him if I said, here's the price." And then he said, "Well, could you do it lower?" And I said, "Okay," and lowered the price. So I said, in negotiations, they have to give up something. So one could be terms. If he'd like to pay the entire amount up front, yes, I'll do it for this lower price. I said, and by the way, I made an offer. He's supposed to make a counter offer. He's not just supposed to say, "Can you go lower?" because what if I go lower and he goes, I'm still gonna go with somebody else. You know, if he's supposed to make a counter offer and I can decide to accept or not. I said, the other thing is, she said, well, he's not gonna go for that. I said, well, fine. Um, instead of me flying out across the country to him, if he'll come fly across the country to meet with me for 3 days, then I'll lower the price. And that's where we left it right now. So that's just, I just share it for everyone that life's a negotiation. There's back and forth. Name's Leslie on this call, negotiated with me to make the price higher, but to include more in the offer. So, you know, it goes both ways, and we need to be flexible. But just if I left a message, if you're taking your client acquisition to the higher level, don't discount, don't accept something where they say, oh, geez, you know, my budget's only 15,000. Could you do it for 15? At least that's an offer. You know, at least you have an offer there. And then you can make a counter offer where things go back and forth. So best wishes with that. And congratulations. That's a signal from the marketplace about your pickleball book.
Well, thanks. And interesting follow-up to your negotiation question. One client came to me a few months ago and he looked at my price and said, would you take 10% off if I pay in advance? And I said, sure, but you lose the right to cancel the contract if things didn't work out after the first month. And he bought it and we're just about done with the book. So it's been a very good arrangement for both of us. So it's a win-win.
Alan Weiss in $1 Million Consulting advocates that strategy, and including the thing, but there is no asking for your money back. Now, we accepted a deal, and for whatever reasons, the client was dormant for 1.5 years. And Devin and I were going like, well, what if this guy comes back and says, you know, I've changed my mind, I want my money back. Because like any small business, you know, we're on the flow, and not like we stuck his money in a savings account and just let it sit there. Maybe that would have been the wise thing to do. The wiser thing that we did is we took out that option in our contracts. We don't offer it anymore. And we did put language that whatever steps you take, because we like decisions to be no-brainers and risks, so we made them be lower priced, but we put language into the contract now that says once you take the step, there's no changing your mind. You know, we'll do whatever it takes to satisfy you, but you can't, for whatever reason, because we celebrated our 10th year anniversary. Yay! And I told Devin when we started, it was going to be an experiment, and it's 10-year running experiment, and we've learned a lot along the way. And we've had to put other clauses in our contract called the restart, fee, and there's the rewrite fee, because people got nervous about their book, and then came back and said, well, here's the new manuscript I want. I said, well, we were already midway publishing this one, and you want to help them, but we've lost money on many deals along the way, and that's not right. So if we're going to make it to 20 years, we've tightened up those things in contracts and agreements, and I advise everybody to take a look at that. And now I have to say, I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. Please seek competent legal advice before making any decision. All decisions remain yours. Federally insured. God bless the USA. Void were prohibited. So, okay. So now that I got that out of the way, in the other book, we're bringing out very soon, we're bringing out the book, Bringing in the Business Without Sounding Like a Salesperson. That's David Goldman, Mark LeBlanc, and I have a section in there. I'm not an attorney, but I've hired many. And I have, for the agreement phase, for the agreement conversation you have, the things you need to think about to have into your agreement. And when I revise that book, I'm going to add dormancy fee and restart fee and rewrite fee.
Henry, say the name of the book again.
bringing in the business without sounding like a salesperson. If you'd like your 99-cent copy, you'll be invited to get it on Kindle for 99 cents. And we'd appreciate it if you do. And for all the family members, whenever we have a book, if I had one ask, it would be buy each other's book for 99 cents and go on Amazon and leave them an honest review. You don't have to leave a 5-star review for everybody. I hope you don't trash anybody's book, but you can damn it with faint praise. You can give it 3 stars and say, covers many points. I wish they would have covered this and that, maybe the future book. That's fine. Matter of fact, it helps us if all our reviews aren't 5 stars, by the way. Aren't you a little suspicious if all their reviews are 5 stars? And as I said, I didn't have to worry about it for the book Tom Searcy and I wrote about Warren Buffett, because while we got many 5-star reviews, we also got some 1-star reviews. Tom and I were writing for Forbes.com at the time, and he posted, "It seems Forbes will give any Tom, Dick, or Henry a column these days." I said, "Tom, I think he just called us a dick." He goes, "Oh, he definitely called us a dick." That was his statement there. But Devin has taught me, my head of social media, not to read comments and reviews anymore. Haters gonna hate. You leave them alone.
Henry, if I may, can I introduce a concept of negotiation?
Yes.
Has anyone ever heard of the term the negotiation triangle?
Do tell.
If you're looking at somebody who's attempting to negotiate with you, there's 3 terms: price, which they hit you up on, there's quantity, and there's TNT, which I call time and terms. And you really need to have control of 2 of the 3 for you to make a counter offer. So can you take your price down? Yes, if you buy a lot more. Yes, if, as Henry said, if you prepay, there's no consignment involved, or if the terms are satisfactory, particularly when it comes to intellectual property, that you're going to be able to maintain control of your IP as opposed to people encroaching on your IP.
Very good. Well, and that's one of the tenets of indie books, is that we attacked traditional publishers in that we gave total control of IP. And we have had several of our authors graduate because their books did well. And then this traditional publisher wanted to publish them and promote them. And we said, we're all for it. We'll help you do it. And we'll tell your story of how you did that. And we put it in the contract. My advisors, when I started the company, said, this is crazy in your contract. You should have something like most publishers do. When somebody leaves, there'll be a fee, there'll be a cost associated with that and all that. And I said, no, I don't want it. I want to stand as different. But there you go. It gave them that control. And I've also heard the triangle is when people are saying they want something, you say, oh, well, we can, there's cost, there's speed, and there's quality. And you get to pick 2 of the 3. Which 2 would you like? If you want it fast and high quality, there's a cost associated with that. If you want low cost and you want quality, well, that might, take time. Because we're going to put you at the end of, without saying it, you're telling them, because we're going to put you at the end of the line. And when we have time, we'll work on you. But those people who are paying for those other things go in front of you. So that's also, if you have that in your mind, I'm candid and blunt because I'm Dutch. I'll just tell people that. Other people want to beat around the bush, but that's what they're thinking whenever they're doing something. John.
Yeah, it's just really for Craig. I was trying to get that third part. It was price, terms, and what was the third part of that triangle, please?
It's price, quantity,
Quantity.
and it used to be time, but now it's been converted to TNT, time and terms.
Yeah.
Time and terms. Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
But don't fall for the feint where people go, I'm the best thing that's ever going to happen to you. By working with me, you're going to get a lot of other business. I'm going to be an advocate for you. People are going to know that we did this. You're going to send things to you. Where they're talking this good game, but in my experience, that doesn't come to be. And somebody warned me once. They said somebody's going to come into your office one day and they're going to say, "I'm the greatest thing that's ever going to happen to you. You are going to be so benefited by working with me." But my challenge is, we're cash strapped right now, and I need you to invest in this. And it's happened time and again.
And I say too, we want to make sure, Henry, that we're competing on value and not price. And what I found to be very effective when somebody says, well, can you reduce it by 30%? Well, what would you like me to extract from my offer? What would you like me to take out? And they cannot find anything.
Yeah. I say then I go, I'm confused. I thought you wanted to cut the price by 30%. And sometimes they feebly say, "Oh, I just wanted you to do everything in the platinum, but just charge me the gold price." I'll say, and then I'll go, "I don't understand." I just keep, and usually after 2 times they'll say, yeah, forget it. They'll either say, "Give me the gold package" or "Give me the platinum package," depending on what they really wanted. If they really wanted everything or if they wanted the price.
Thought you just told them up front you're Dutch and that ends the conversation.
Well, I was paid to speak in Michigan, in Western Michigan, where there are windmills and there are tulips. So these are where my people went to in America first. They went to Michigan. But I was speaking to a group of business owners, and we were talking about this issue about negotiations and this, and this woman explained to me her situation. And I said, "Oh, well, so you're saying they had champagne tastes, but they only had a beer budget." And she says, "No, I'm not saying that." I said, "Well, I don't understand. What are you saying?" I'm saying they're Dutch. These are Dutch people I have to negotiate with. And I'm thinking, like, do you not know what De Vries is? It's like, I thought, like, let it go. My evil twin, Dick De Vries, did not come out and attack her. I said, Dutch, I understand. I understand negotiating with these people. So let me explain them.
Did she understand how wire was invented, copper wire?
Yes. If you don't know, go ahead, Craig. How was copper wire invented?
2 Dutchmen fighting over a penny.
Yeah, there you go. Any other questions from the field? While you're thinking one, I have a comment on something else Craig said, and it was about messaging and getting the messaging right. And this is not a, what's my message going to be? And now I have the right message. This is testing. So when I decided to go for the target niche of agency owners, 5 to 200 employees, and go deep into that niche, I had a message that we help agency owners market with a book and a speech. And then we said, we help agency owners find right fit prospects by marketing with a book and a speech. And that worked well. But it was the day we said, we help agency owners find right fit clients by marketing with a book and a speech, by publishing a book they're proud of, that things took off. And there was emotion in a book they were proud of. And people had shared that they'd seen other books that, like, oh, how did that person publish that crappy book? And one of our mottos here is the world does not need another crappy business book. But the opposite side of that, the more positive thing, was proud of. Yeah, I'd like a book that I'm proud of, that I could stand for. And a lot of the fear that people have in the process, and Dan's a ghostwriter, he'll know this too, is they get fear that, oh, their book's not perfect, or people are going to compare their book to Good to Great or Eat, Pray, Love, and it's going to found wanting. Or The Belief Trap, that they look at their book and they go, oh, is this really important? Do I have something to say? So all those fear elements kick in. We also say fear never sleeps. So the opposite of that is there'd be this book that they'd be proud of. Now we have to get people past the perfection belief comparison trap all the time. I chuckle now every time somebody compares their book to Good to Great or Eat, Pray, Love. Those are the top two that are brought up. But you want your book to be the best book you could do. The best book you could produce. We had this one client, and we'll call him Peter. Let's call him Peter. True story, names change. So Peter was a hard driving executive, and he became a very hard driving strategic coach. And he was very high on the D on the disc chart, high red if you use the color thing. So kind of this driver. And he hires me to ghostwrite his book, and we work together for a year, and I'm interviewing him and I'm challenging him, I'm stepping on his toes, we're going back and forth. And then we published the book, and he calls me one day and said, I want to talk about that book we published. And I said, oh, go ahead, Peter. He goes, I thought I'd hire you and you'd go off and you'd write this great book, but that's not how you operate. You kept pushing me. You kept interviewing me. You kept pulling things out of me. You kept challenging me. You made this the best book that Peter could write. And I just wanted to tell you, you made the right decision. I said, okay. By the tone, I wasn't sure where we were going with this. And he also called back later because he was doing some assessment, and it was like, I need you to tell me what it's like to work with me and all this, and got to the part like, do we share anything in common? I said, I don't know. I like baseball. Do you like baseball? I like baseball very much. I said, I grew up in LA. I'm a Dodger fan. I'm a very big Dodger fan. I said, so maybe we should go to a Dodger game sometime? Well, you do that? So interesting, the high D personality. But the point of the story, and I did have one, is don't compare yourself to others. Do the best book you can do, the best you book. That's the best pickleball book that Dan Janelle could do. Is there somebody who might write a better pickleball book? Sure, more power to them. When people really want to know about pickleball, which has now become a metaphor for what we all do, they don't buy one pickleball book. They're not one and done. They'll buy several. When I wrote the Warren Buffett book, I bought 11 Warren Buffett books in one day. When they want leadership, presence, and communication, they're not just going to buy your book, Leslie. They're going to buy several books on the topic and see what it is. So take comfort in that and have your point of view, have your premise, know who your people are. John loves these martial arts agency owners. So these are God's other children that also wear black silk pajamas to work. Gosh, I'm never going to fight with a 9th degree black belt over a bill. That's for sure.
Hey, we went to the same college, Henry. You never have to worry about it. I've always got your back. You're a Triton. Yes. I'll always have your back.
That's right. There we go.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to share that. Any other questions for the good of the group? Yes, John.
One last one. So after doing my first book, it comes to me that I missed a big part of the process. I guess in your world, they call it the back end, right? Building the back end.
Yes.
So that people will then in turn look to see what else you can offer. So I'm not a very salesy guy, and I miss that whole thing. So can you just speak a moment about what kind of things I should consider if I write the next book, as with the back end in mind, I guess?
Thank you for asking. And please never say that I have a big back end. I would appreciate that. I'm trying to Right, do I have the right copy here of Trusted Advisor Confidential? So, oh, here it is. So in the back of Trusted Advisor Confidential, we put in a color page, and it's Speed Your Progress with the Navstar Client Acquisition Toolkit. So it's very informational, and QR code and a website to go to if people want to go to the next level. So the E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. I read that book. It was a great book. It was a fable too, about a woman with a pie shop and who systematized her business. And I just started mine back in 1999. And in the back of the book, it says, you know, do you want more? Call the E-Myth Academy. So I called the E-Myth Academy. And the person said, oh, well, as a free offer for people who read the book, we form these like study groups. So you can be in with 12 other business owners, and we're going to have some conversations about the book. And well, what does that cost? Well, that's free. So I joined, and I went to 2 study groups. And then the person said, oh, well, you know, really enjoyed meeting you in the study groups. Would you like to know what a next step could be? Sure. Well, the E-Myth Academy has study groups like you were in, and they also have one-on-one. One-on-one is $800. Always mention the more expensive thing first. One-on-one is $800. The study group's $300 a month, and we give you additional materials, and you meet twice a month, and you work on your business. Well, how long do people do this? Well, some are in it for years. So I did that as the result of what was in the back of the book. Oh, by the way, because I didn't know how different I was in life till a few years ago. Really, a few years ago, somebody pointed out and said, like, Henry, you are not like other people, and gave me some specifics. But with the E-Myth, they're in Santa Rosa, California. This is above San Francisco. I'm in San Diego, which is near the Mexican border. But I had this strategic coach who was facilitating these 2 calls a month. And I said, you know, I'd like to buy you breakfast or lunch. When could we do that? She said, Henry, you don't understand. We're in Santa Rosa. You're in San Diego. I said, I fully understand. And Southwest flies there 8 times a day. What would you like to have, breakfast or lunch? So she did this. I fly up and I said, can I get a tour? And I got a tour of the E-Myth Academy, and I saw how they were organized. I talked to their people, got tips, because I'm thinking, maybe I want to form an E-Myth Academy one day. I want to see how this runs. And they said I was the only person to have ever done that. And then the next thing is they had this weekend program that they were doing, like a boot camp, a Friday, Saturday, Sunday boot camp, where you could really accelerate your work on systematizing your business. And they invited me to come, and I said, well, that's very nice, thank you. I really, you know, I'd like to invest my dollars in something else right now. And they said, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't explain right. Michael Gerber wants you to be his guest and sit in on this, and then visit with us afterwards and give us your impression.
Oh.
And also, we'd like permission to publish your homework that you've done for the E-Myth. Most of these people didn't have MBAs, and they hadn't been presidents of companies before. You know, they were struggling painters and chiropractors and people like that. So I said, deal. And so got on the inside of that and picked up a lot of useful information. So the point of this story is, think in different ways. And my mother, the waitress from New York, would say, if you don't ask, you don't get. We were talking about a testimonial with one of the authors. Well, I'd really like Marshall Goldsmith, but I don't know. He's probably going to say no. He's probably going to do this. I said, well, if we don't ask, we don't get. And Marshall Goldsmith said yes. That's how I got Ken Blanchard. That's how I got Guy Kawasaki. So one of our authors got Daniel Pink for endorsements. If you don't ask, you don't get. So that's what I wanted to leave you with today. Craig, thanks so much for visiting. Thanks so much for partnering with me on this book. I think this is very helpful. I know, our agreement, Craig and I agreed that we would both send 200 copies of this book out this year. So I've got 50, got 150 to buy and send out. Don't wait to be discovered, people. Get those books in people's hands. That's when the magic happens. Okay, so we do this every month. We'd love to have you bring a buddy. We'd like to grow this community. We think the secret in this business is relationships. It's not about strangers on the internet. It's about forming relationships with other authors and experts and amplifying their work. So thanks, everybody. Thanks, Devin. Thanks, Craig. And we'll see everybody next month.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Much.